Fire away. All right, for the plaintiff, Mr. Babolio, for the defense, Mr. Taggart. Mr. Babolio is in direct examination. We have an expert witness on the stand. He's a chemist. We're using big words. We're testing drugs. 150 words a minute. We're just going to go to the reset. When we get to the reset, we're going to stop. All right?
Right.
So take it away, Mr. Babolio.
Ready? Begin. State your name, please.
J. Williams.
And your occupation.
I am a chemist with Blanchard Dixon Laboratory.
Will you stipulate, gentlemen, as to the nature and character of the drugs?
Your Honor, I think that perhaps I might ask the witness a few questions. However, counsel for the defendant will stipulate that the witness is an expert on the identification of dangerous drugs.
So stipulated, Your Honor.
For the purpose of the preliminary?
Yes, for this hearing only.
At this time, if the court please, the people would like to have the 3 bags, plastic bags, and contents thereof identified as follows. A plastic bag containing what appears to be another plastic bag and the number 1 written on the outside. We would like to have that identified as People's Exhibit 1 for identification.
It will be so identified.
Another plastic bag containing, in turn, a plastic bag containing a number of reddish pills. We would like to have this identified as People's Exhibit number 2 for identification.
It may be so identified.
And finally, another plastic bag, which in turn contains, among other things, paper cups and the contents thereof. And we would like to have that identified as People's number 3 for identification.
It may be so identified.
Mr. Williams, I direct your attention to People's Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 for identification and ask you if you have ever seen them before.
Yes, sir, I have.
When and where did you first see them?
I picked these up at the sheriff's office on the 20th of October, 2009.
In a sealed condition?
Yes.
And would you describe the exhibit as it first appeared to you?
There was one plastic bag with another plastic bag with about 500 red tablets. There was another plastic bag with another plastic bag inside with about 100 purple mottled tablets. Then there was another plastic bag which has another smaller plastic bag with about 200 assorted colored tablets inside.
And referring to the latter group of tablets, in which plastic bag are they presently?
They are in the outer plastic. The inner plastic bag is also in that bag, but they are not wrapped in it.
And is it numbered on the outside?
Yes.
What number is it?
Number 3.
And there appears to be some paper cups within that plastic bag. Can you account for the presence of those cups?
Yes, sir. The assorted tablets were placed in cups according to their similarity.
And did you make any examination of the pills within the plastic bag, which has been identified as People's Exhibit number 3 for identification?
Yes.
And what test did you perform and what findings did you make?
First of all, I performed a color test on 4 of the types of tablets and then ran a spectrophotometric curve on the extract of the pills to determine the contents.
Were you able to identify any of the pills contained within People's Exhibit number 3 for identification?
Yes.
Approximately how many?
About 35 of this.
And did you identify them?
Yes.
What are those pills?
They are what is called STP.
And would you define or describe those pills with more particularity?
Yes, it is an amphetamine type compound which is listed as a hallucinogenic.
Classified as a dangerous drug?
Yes.
Were you able, up to this point, to identify any of the other pills?
No, I wasn't.
No further questions.
Mr. Taggart?
Thank you, Judge Parent. Now, you have testified as to the number of each color of pills, is that correct?
No, I haven't given the number of each type of pill. I gave the approximate number.
The approximate number. Then do I understand that you didn't actually count these pills?
I counted the ones in the plastic cups, but I did not count the number in the other 2 bags.
When you say the other 2 bags, specifically what bags are you referring to?
I think they have been called Exhibits 1 and 2, the red pills and the purple pills.
Then do I understand that you did not count the exact number of red or purple pills, is that correct?
No, I didn't.
Your Honor, can I have a second? My client wants to consult with him.
Yes.
Mr. Williams, you testified, I believe, that some of these pills you determined to be STP, is that correct?
Yes.
And more specifically, what does STP stand for?
Well, I don't really know exactly what the letters stand for. There's been many accounts of what they are supposed to stand for, but it's the same thing as a compound put out by Dow Chemical, which is initial DOM, and it's an amphetamine-like compound. I can't remember the exact chemical structure right now. It's dimethyltryptamine of some sort.
You say you don't know the exact chemical structure?
Not off the top of my head, no, sir.
How can you be sure these pills are STP?
I have tested them that way.
When you say you have tested them, specifically, what test did you perform on these pills?
I mentioned earlier that I performed a color test, which involves the use of a reagent called Wagonar's reagent, which is a saturated solution of citric acid and acetic hydratic as the color test. And then I extracted the pills, ran an ultraviolet spectrometric curve to determine the absorption at different wavelengths in the ultraviolet range.
What
For further identification,
were the results of this Wagonar's test? Is that what you call it?
yes, no, it's a spot test utilizing Wagonar's reagent.
Oh, it utilizes Wagonar's reagent.
Yes.
What was the result of performing this test using the reagent?
The color change was, there was a change in color of the reagent, and I judged the compound could possibly be STP, and I continued on with another test to confirm my findings.
In other words, after you used this reagent, you still were not certain that the pills were in fact STP.
Not absolutely certain, no.
What color did this Wagonar's reagent, what change of color took place?
Green to brown to blue.
All right, Mr. Williams, to your knowledge and based on your experience, how many times have you performed the particular series of tests?
I have performed it numerous times.
Can you approximate how many?
No, I can't. Over 100. I can't say exactly. I do it as a routine screen. The color test, I do routine screening on most pills that I get in.
And to your knowledge, how accurate is this test or the series of tests?
The series is quite accurate.
To your knowledge, is this the most up-to-date and sophisticated series of tests that's available at the present time?
Yes, it is.
You have testified that apparently you performed a color test. Is that correct, to confirm your findings?
No, that was the preliminary test I made. I ran an ultraviolet absorption curve of the spectrum to confirm my test.
Is there any kind of machine? Do you utilize a mechanical device?
Yes, I do.
What device would that be?
It's an ultraviolet spectrometer. Ultraviolet.
Are you familiar with using that machine?
Yes, I am.
To your knowledge, is there anything the matter with that machine? Was it in good operating condition?
Yes, it was.
My client has posed a question which I would like to ask you. Is there a possibility, a mathematical possibility, that you could have gotten the same result from this series of tests from some other type of pill?
No, not the combination of two. No.
In other words, only STP will give you the same reaction when you put the Wagonar's reagent in it?
No, there may be some others, but the combination of that and the ultra curve have been shown to be proof of the structure of the compound.
Just one or two other questions. How many of these pills, you may have answered this, I don't know. How many of these pills did you actually run through the test?
35, I believe. 35.
And did you get the same reaction from all 35 pills?
Yes.
Just one last question. Did anyone else besides yourself check the results from these tests that you did?
No.
Your Honor, my client has a question he wants me to ask.
All questions that you want, just ask your attorney to ask them. He can ask whatever questions you have.
Mr. Williams, you have testified, have you not, that STP is a dangerous drug, classified as a dangerous drug?
Yes.
And you further testified, I believe, that it was an hallucinogenic?
Yes.
Now, okay. Now, you, sir, you have never performed any test, have you, utilizing STP? See what effect it does have on persons?
Your Honor, I am going to object. That is irrelevant and immaterial.
Sustained.
Is there any doubt in your mind, sir, that these pills were STP, as to whether they were STP or maybe something else?
No, I came to the conclusion they were STP. There is no doubt of it in my mind.
Were there any markings on these pills, letter markings?
No.
To your knowledge, are there any pills classified as not being dangerous drugs that are the same shape and color?
Objection, Your Honor. Irrelevant and immaterial.
If there is any doubt that you have that these pills are what this man claims that they are, the court will make available, I suppose, if he is held to answer, to have another test run by someone else. Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
No further questions.
You may step down.
People call John Einolander. What is your business or occupation?
Highway patrolman.
Okay.
All righty. How was that, guys? You guys got all that?